What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Clippers Latest, where we talk all things LA Clippers quick, fast, and to the point. I'm your host, Brandon Goggins, and we're here to talk about another eventful episode today. We have a lot to cover, but of course, how are we all doing today? I hope that it's been a good day for you at whatever time you're watching this. If it's morning, I hope that you're about to go conquer the day. If it's in the middle of the day, I hope that it's been a good day so far and that it continues to be one. And if you're watching this at the end of the day, I hope that you had an amazing day and you felt productive. Did you tell somebody anything positive about them today? If you haven't, it's not too late. You can still spread some positivity in some way. But without further ado, we're going to get straight into it because, like I said, we got some stuff to talk about. Starting with, of course, the continuous story about this cap circumvention of the Clippers. Look, Steve Ballmer finally broke his silence after reports claimed that Kawhi Leonard received a $28 million no-show job from a company called Aspiration. In an interview with ESPN's Ramona Shelburne, Ballmer said that he initially bought into the company believing that it was legit, but he claimed that he was completely blindsided. And in his words, he said, quote, "Look, they conned me. I made an investment thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me. At this stage, I have no ability to predict why they might have done anything they did, let alone the specific contract with Kawhi." So he's basically insisting that he cut ties with Aspiration years ago, before any of the fraud came to light. Excuse me. But he also made it clear that he hasn't even talked to Kawhi since this news broke on Wednesday, and he wants the league to investigate thoroughly because he feels like he didn't break any rules. He didn't do anything wrong. So, yeah, be free. Investigate all you want to. He said that salary cap rules are crucial to a level playing field, so he feels confident that the NBA can come in and investigate and do whatever they need to do because he doesn't believe that there's anything to find on him. So I think the biggest question that we're all wondering is what's going to happen next. The NBA has already hired a law firm to dig more into this situation, so that's, by the way, the same law firm that handled the Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver cases. So if you know anything about that, you know that this is going to be some serious business and that this investigation could lead to some serious consequences if the Clippers are found guilty of it. And we're talking fines, draft pick penalties, or hopefully nothing at all. But for now, Ballmer is drawing a hard line that he and the organization are clean. Nothing to see here, folks. And you know what, Steve, I'm right with you. I ain't do nothing wrong. I've been conned before. You give somebody the benefit of the doubt. What did I just say? You give somebody the benefit of the doubt, and they just go ahead and prove you wrong, make you look stupid for believing in them. You didn't know they were going to go do you the way that they did, but they still did it. And now you looking like the fool. So that's how Steve is feeling. And, Steve, I feel you. And I hope that your name is clear from all of this. I hope that you are confident for the right reasons and that the league will not give the Clippers any consequences because we just can't handle that right now. Speaking of things that can't be handled at this moment, we're going to swing things over to Houston, but only because we're talking about James Harden here. And Harden's off-court portfolio kind of took a little bit of a hit this week as his Houston Restaurant 13 was officially locked up after falling $2.2 million short behind on rent. $2.2 million. See, that's that rich people stuff, man. 2.2, man, I'm over here stressing about the rent that I got to pay in my apartment in my moderate-sized city. $2.2 million in rent? What's going on? What we got going on? I don't know. But the doors are closed and management hasn't yet issued a statement, and Harden hasn't come out and said anything about this either. But just for some context on this restaurant, he opened it back in 2021 as a high-end dining spot with bottle service, seafood, and celebrity visits. Of course, Harden and Lil Baby, you know what I'm saying? They real tight, so obviously other celebrities come to Houston often and they want that elite dining experience. And it sounds like, a restaurant that owes $2.2 million in rent once upon a time had that $2.2 million. So I could only imagine that it's pretty high end, so to speak. But the back rent was snowballed, and unless that $2.2 million is covered soon, I think that the Locks are going to stay. It was a popular hangout spot in Houston, but they can't get it together. They're not going to remain open too long. And it's crazy because last year Harden actually talked about expanding the brand to other cities like Atlanta, LA, because he lives there. But I kind of feel like that future might be up in the air now. I don't really know. It's kind of a tough situation. Regardless, he's still a future Hall of Famer on the court, but this can show how business ventures can quickly change off of the court. But on the bright side, for Harden, at the time of this recording, today is National Beard Day. So he has that to celebrate. If nothing else, don't worry. I'm sure he'll get all of this situated in due time, if he's even interested in doing so. I mean, he doesn't live in Houston anymore, but I'm sure he still goes back often. He spent, how long was he there? was it 14? Yeah, it was 2014. And then he left in 2021, maybe. So he was there for 7. It feels like it was longer than that. But, I mean, that's just how elite he was in Houston. It felt like it lasted way longer than it even did. I felt like he was there for at least a decade, but not quite. Not quite. But it felt like it. But, anyways, I hope that he gets that situation resolved. And happy National Beard Day to James Harden and others that also have beards as well. But we're going to go back to some on-the-court stuff because, as you guys know, this offseason has been, I would like to say, tremendous for the Clippers. We've gotten a lot of good pickups. But we need to talk about one thing that resulted in a huge offseason signing. The Clippers moved to sign John Collins. It wasn't just a random acquisition that came out of thin air. It didn't come out of nowhere. It came straight from the pain of Aaron Gordon's game-winning dunk in the Western Conference semifinals last season against the Nuggets. That single play in the final milliseconds of Game 4 exposed LA's need for more spring and size in the front court. Because if there was somebody there to contest that would have never happened. But we lacked size last year. Jokic was playing all the way out on the perimeter when he threw it up there. And who's our biggest player on the court? Big Zoo. So he wasn't down there. And then who else is there? Exactly. So Lawrence Frank and the front office, they saw how their rebounding numbers stacked up. I mean, last year, Kawhi and James Harden were among the leaders in rebounds. And neither of those guys, if you can tell, are over the height of 6'8". So obviously Zoo led the team with 12.6 rebounds per game, which was phenomenal, but the drop-off behind him was pretty drastic. Like I said, Kawhi was the next most, and he averaged not even 6 rebounds per game, 5.9. James Harden, 5.8. So, yeah. John Collins, on the other hand, had a phenomenal year in Utah, averaging 16 points, 8.2 rebounds per game, and a block with Utah, and his athleticism was the real selling point there. I mean, above all else, he can run the floor, he can clean the glass, he can protect the rim enough to prevent something like Aaron Gordon dunking on a buzzer beater, which is still insane to me. But he can help prevent those type of moments from breaking the season again. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not going through that again. So John Collins, not to threaten you or anything, but if you allowed that to happen and I'm watching the game, I'm sending them. I'm not going to talk about what I'm talking about. You can make an inference, guys. I'm just kidding. I'm just going to send a nice message and be like, look, man, I don't appreciate that you didn't contest that. And I wish that you would have jumped a little bit higher and tried to contest that and keep that from happening. Respectfully. That's what I would say. That's what I mean by I would send them. Send a nice message. Anyways, pairing John Collins with Derrick Jones Jr., we've talked about this many times before, but that will give LA pretty much the bounciest look that they've had since the Lob City days about a decade or so ago. And in a league where athletic bigs are more valuable than ever, I feel like John Collins fills a gap that the Clippers badly needed. But he's not the only one. They have added some much needed depth at the front court spot, and that is a large thanks to Sam Presti. We have him to thank, I would like to say. Um, on top of Collins, obviously, the Clippers reinforced their front court with Brook Lopez, giving them multiple ways to play. Zubac remains the starter, of course, but now they can pair Zoo with Lopez for a double big lineup, or they can slide Collins into small ball lineups. And really, Lopez, he brings that spacing and defense. Last year in Milwaukee, he averaged 12.5 points, 5 rebounds, and nearly 2 blocks a game while shooting 36% from deep. You can't be mad at that. And if you put him next to Zoo, you have a pair that can protect the rim, stretch the floor at the same time. We got it all. You know what I'm saying? We got two bigs that can do both, but two different things, but two of the same things, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? We need all of that. So having them to be able to share that space at the same time would be incredibly valuable. But at the end of the day, NBA comes down to matchups, right? We saw that. It was very obvious against Denver. So against Denver, you would probably throw out Lopez and Zoo to match up with Jokic and Aaron Gordon, and the rest of the guys that they have are just big as hell over there for no reason. But then against the team like Golden State, who likes to rip and run real quick, you can go small ball with Collins at the 5 to try and keep up with that fast tempo. And I feel like that flexibility is something that the Clippers haven't had in what feels like years. So this is really refreshing, and I hope that, we get the results that we're hoping for, because I've said it time and time again, this team is special, and they can really be special, and I hope that they are special. But look, man, Ballmer even joked about taking notes from Sam Presti in OKC, and if that's true, then this front court depth is a strategic step toward being ready for any playoff matchup that comes their way. Obviously, in saying that, they added Isaiah Hartenstein last year, and as soon as I saw them add him, not to sound like LeBron, but I knew that they were going all the way. Especially, well, it wasn't just Hartenstein, it was Caruso as well, but like being able to rotate between the two bigs, but also being able to play them alongside each other, you can see how valuable that was and how critical that was for OKC's title run. I mean, regardless of the matchup that they came up against, they had something for that. They had a little mix and match action ready to combat whatever was thrown at them. So I feel like the Clippers now having that option really gives us an upper hand. And, who knows what can happen. But that's going to do it for this episode today. You guys let me know what you think of John Collins and Brook Lopez joining the team. What type of lineups you would like to see, and how valuable that you think they can work against certain teams. And what teams would you play whatever lineup against? Drop your lineups in the comment, like fantasy lineups, if you will. Pour one up to James Harden. If you're not going to tell him Happy National Beer Day, maybe, start a GoFundMe for 13 or something. I'm not really sure what should be done. It's really up to Harden, because I know he got the $2 million, but that's not really. I was gonna say it's not his business, but it quite literally is. He ain't gotta worry about that right now. You know what I'm saying? Leave that up to the general manager. Let somebody else handle that. But I hope that they get that situation figured out for real. And then again, as this circumvention cap story develops, keep on letting me know what you guys feel like in the comments about this whole situation. Do you think that Ballmer is capping? And I'm not talking about salary capping. Like, do you think he's lying and trying to cover his butt? Or do you believe him and think that Aspiration genuinely did commit fraud and that he cut ties with them a few years ago like he said he did? I'm on that side, but I don't want to seem biased. So you guys let me know what you think about in the comments. And like I said, that's going to do it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like, a comment, and consider subscribing if you're new here. We're going to be right back tomorrow with some more Clippers latest news. And until then, you guys keep it easy as always. Take care. Peace, blessings. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.